What's up, guys? CJ here, and welcome back to the Superfriends podcast, where we're talking everything DC Comics, DCTV, and of course, the DCEU. Joining me today are my special guests. First up, a series regular, and this is episode 48. Luke, have you been on all 48 episodes?
I have not, no. There was that time where I had to go back to my home planet.
True.
Back in, I believe, June. It was around when BVS came out, so like March.
Oh, that's true. You were out for a couple of weeks, weren't you?
Yes, I was out for a good bit. After that, sporadically. After that, so
almost.
No. Unfortunately,
Almost,
I was not in. Yeah, I was not in the entire series. I was not in the entire issues. But I'm back.
You're the only original member in this call right now, I think.
Yeah, that's true.
So still, you hold seniority. Josh, the big boss, joins us for this one. Josh, how are you feeling today?
I'm feeling pretty great. I'm pretty excited to talk about these topics today.
Are you on your Donald Trump shit? Are you feeling like a big boss? Point.
I mean, I don't have a tower, but, you know.
Josh will build a wall around Superfriends to stop us from restarting again.
We probably should invest in that, a giant hybrid tower.
Hybrid tower. But no, hybrid house soon, 2018.
I like the alliteration.
Just joking. We'll see. And then we're joined by a very, very special guest who's actually never been on a Hybrid Network podcast before.
On his training wheels.
Tim, how are you doing today?
I'm doing fine for right now.
Bro, you had me really, really worried because you paused for a second. I was like, oh, if we have to do take 4.
Take 5.
Take 5. Let's wrap. No, Tim, how are you doing? Are the nerves getting to you on your first podcast?
Make it through.
Shout out to YouTube user Dick Grayson, who of course forced my hand by commenting that we didn't do the joke last week and made me do it again this week.
He challenged CJ basically.
Exactly. He threatened my authority, and this is what happens. I respond poorly. We actually have a lot of stuff to talk about today. Tim, of course, last week we did the Super Friends Suicide Squad spoiler cast. Lots of alliteration there for you. And all seemed to feel a little better than the critics did. Critical response, very, very negative. Tim, you have since seen it. What is your verdict?
So I wasn't on the spoiler cast last week because I waited till Sunday so I could see it with my friends for my birthday. So my overall thoughts on it is I thought it was fine. There were elements I liked to it, like Will Smith, Viola Davis. I like Captain Boomerang, Killer Croc. Was not a fan of either Joker or Harley. I think they tried way too hard with Harley. Didn't work out well. She got grading over time.
Yeah.
And the plot was...
Oh, I agree.
The plot was definitely a mess. It didn't flow well, but overall, I probably enjoyed it the most of all the DCEU films so far.
That's kind of where I'm sitting at as well. I don't know if I think it's the best, because I still actually, after many repeat viewings, I hated Man of Steel when first viewing. After many repeat viewings, I still think that's maybe the best film they've put forward, like as a one cohesive film. Just from maybe like a simply like checking all the boxes on like, does this feel like natural?
From a film standpoint, I think that it's fine. It's honestly my least favorite of the three, just because I feel it's so lifeless and I was so bored while watching it.
Yeah, true. But I agree with you. I did enjoy this one the most, and I think do we all feel the same way? Josh, Luke.
Man of Steel was my favorite out of the three so far, and then the BVS Ultimate Edition, then Suicide Squad, then the theatrical cut of BVS.
You saying that Man of Steel was your favorite out of the three is huge, because any longtime viewers will know Josh was a longtime critic of Man of Steel. VV longtime indeed. But no, so we all seemed to enjoy Suicide Squad a lot more than the critics did. Currently, the movie is sitting at a whopping 26% on Rotten Tomatoes, with a 4.7 out of 10, the average score. And fair noting that is a lot of those votes are like 3 out of 5 or something like that, or out of 4 stars as well. So it doesn't quite exactly add up out of 10. Not everyone's grading it out of 10. But that is with 265 reviews in, or 285, something like that. And it is almost like a 3-to-1 ratio of rotten to fresh reviews. So I gotta ask, fellas, were you at all surprised by the overwhelmingly negative reaction?
I'll go first on this
Luke,
one.
were you surprised by that?
Yeah,
oh, Tim, go ahead. Yeah,
I was.
You take the spotlight.
I was sort of surprised, and I wasn't. I guessed 55 was what I said when we were talking amongst ourselves about it, because I thought that since they're adding more of the humor, and it seemed at least more engaging characterization than the others, that it would push it a little bit forward. But due to all the behind the scenes stuff, I didn't think it would be fresh. But it's definitely lower than I thought it would be.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely seems. I made it really harsh, and it's worth remembering that, if the percentage score was just what the percentage, what I guess what kind of like Metacritic is, where it's this is the average rating. It's if it was that, Suicide Squad would have a score up in, it would be 47. It wouldn't be as bad as the 26%. So it's worth reminding people, I think, that Rotten Tomatoes is just what percentage of critics thought it was good and what percentage thought it was bad. And even in that, there's some gray area. But Luke or Josh, were you surprised at all by this?
Luke, want to go first?
Yeah, sure. I mean, kind of, yeah. I don't know, because, again, when we were kind of rating it in our chat, I gave it a 51, because I thought, it'll have some entertaining stuff, and I certainly found a lot of things to be entertaining in the movie and just good in the movie. Sort of, there was a lot of things that were bad, but, I mean...
Yeah.
It's definitely messed up. It's definitely not a perfect movie by any means, but stuff I thought was good, and I was pretty entertained when watching it. I'm kind of thinking that I really don't think it deserves a 26%, in all honesty. I don't know. I feel like people kind of like what we said before. This take. BVS, I think, left a bad taste in a critic's mouth. Kind of like what Tim said before.
In the previous
it left
timeline.
A bad taste, and yes, in the previous timeline,
the alternate timeline
in Earth 3. But
yeah.
So I guess that they really were expecting this to be just a humongous improvement, and the fact that it's not. It's kind of a big blow, and so obviously they're just kind of I'll say ripping it to shreds, because they kind of are, but
yeah. No, I mean, it definitely doesn't deserve a 26. I think we are all in agreement about that, no matter how we feel about the movie. And I know I didn't love it, I enjoyed myself, but I didn't love it from an objective film standpoint.
Yeah.
I completely vibe with you on that, and I agree with you. I think a lot of the issues with this movie maybe in terms of, we all know about WB kind of sticking their hands in things, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But I think that maybe the biggest thing about this movie, I think they're just, the expectations were too high. Too many people expected this to be, I guess, the savior of the DCEU, and it's well, really, should a Suicide Squad movie have ever been that? But Josh, what do you think? Do you think it deserved a 26?
I mean, me personally, I'd give it more of a 5 out of 10. Kind of score, with Man of Steel being a 6.5, maybe creeping at 7 if I'm drunk or something. But honestly, it's just one of those things where my biggest problem with the movie was its plot. I thought the plot fit better for a Justice League Dark movie. I just didn't think Enchantress as a villain was really a good fit, considering the personnel that is involved with the Suicide Squad. I thought something more political would have been better, overthrowing government or something, something like that, doing something low key, very covert. I thought that would have been better, but obviously they didn't go that route. I mean, we could nitpick it all day, but I mean, at the end of the day, I thought the highlights in the movie were there. I thought Will Smith's Deadshot, I liked that. Moments of Harley, I did enjoy that. Do I wish they showed more Joker? Yes, because I feel I can't properly judge Leto's Joker with what we saw. But I mean,
speaking of that,
good.
I mean, if you want to finish your thought,
I just had one more thing. The biggest takeaway for me was, as a huge Shazam fan, I've been looking for any bits and pieces that could go into a Shazam movie, and with all the Enchantress stuff and how that worked out, the way it resolves it, the resolution of it at the end of this movie could easily fit into a reason for Shazam existing in this universe, because magic has been horribly mistreated now, publicly, you could say, and now there needs to be a champion of magic.
True.
So
I was gonna say just the way they handle like Enchantress's powers, like where she says a magic word and she turns into a witch. Like that at least is kind of like a very possible backdoor for Shazam in general. But you mentioned like maybe wanting to see more Joker and not getting enough Joker in this movie. Well, we do know WB had their hands all over this film, according to the very, very damning The Hollywood Reporter report that came out last week, just after the reviews hit the web on Wednesday. Didn't really get to talk about it last week, but the main story is there are a ton of deleted scenes that just, that got cut. Like even from like a more finished cut of this movie, like Ayer's finished cut of this film, a lot of stuff deleted. So really, a lot of it was Joker scenes. Like Jared Leto, very, very unhappy with it, talking about, maybe some of it will come out when I'm dead, stuff like that. Or it's like, there's enough here to make a whole Joker movie. But really, of course, Nick followed the deleted scenes video up with a video just, I think, earlier yesterday. And Ayer's original cut of the film reportedly not very different from the original film. Some subtle differences, but overall not paced very differently. So have you guys had a chance to check out like any of the reports about deleted scenes, or are you guys just blind?
Yeah, I checked it out. It came off as overall due to the nature of those scenes, it came off as a bit, I guess, what you could say, quote unquote, darker. Like it would be like a dark movie, and I feel like they might have taken those out not to spite like Leto, as some people have been saying, but because a lot of people were saying, oh, due to Leto's, behind the scenes shenanigans, people like were saying, oh, they just cut that out to get at him. I don't think it was that. I think it was more so maybe. I think more so it was just they didn't feel like, because obviously the tone they were going for wasn't as dark as what those scenes would have entailed. I mean, especially like the Batman beating the Joker, the way he was described beating him with Wayne Manor burning the background, and all that. Like that's just like that's very like not what would have really fit into what we got in the movie and stuff like that. So I feel like that's maybe why they took it out, just because of tone. Although I mean, I'm curious to see that that stuff, but I don't want an Ultimate Edition, because I don't want that to become a new like trend with the DC movies. Like I want the movie they release to be the product they release.
Yeah, let's put a pin in that and come back to the Ultimate Edition talk. But what's one deleted scene that you know of that you really wanted in the movie? Josh, let's go ahead, since you're already kind of in the zone.
I'd say out of the deleted scenes I heard, I'm most curious. I mean, I really don't want to see kind of like any of them, just because I feel like the interjection of any one of those scenes would require the interjection of all the other scenes. As odd as that sounds, I mean, it doesn't have to, but I just feel like.
Well, let me rephrase then for you. Which one did you like the most? Which deleted scene would you have liked to see, regardless of your hypothetical there? Like you would have had to add like all this stuff back in.
I would have liked to see the one I talked about before, where it's like Batman basically wailing on the Joker with Wayne Manor burning the background, hinting Jason Todd, basically his death, all that stuff. I would really like to see that, because I really would have kind of connected it with BVS a little more directly, I guess you could say, without just having Batman show up in the movie. And also would have explained a few things about the Joker appearance-wise, and maybe give us a timetable for when Jason died. Yeah, but that's really it.
Luke, which scene of the ones that you know of would you have liked most in the movie?
Well, I think I really would have liked. There's one scene I think that it's not really a scene, it's just like I think it's the whole thing, where Boomerang is just kind of a racist towards Katana, and I think it's mostly just because this movie, Boomerang gets the shaft, and I think he's easily probably my favorite character, not just in this, but like just in Suicide Squad in general, and like elements of the kind of character he is, where he's just a scumbag and he's like the worst person on the team, are there, but they're not really like, they don't go into them too deeply, and I feel like if that had stayed in, that's what I mean, because like no, because like he leaves and it's like that's a very Boomerang thing to do, and then the very next scene he comes back and like it's not a Boomerang thing. He would have left by now. Yeah, it's like a Boomerang. But
Tim,
no,
you win.
I would have definitely liked that, just to kind of build on that more. Also, I guess I'm cheating. Just I need to add this. Joker slapping Harley because I feel like they misrepresented their relationship grossly
Completely.
in this cut.
Oh, yeah.
It's just
Absolutely.
it's almost embarrassing, I think.
It really is. Tim, what's your deleted scene
to
of
be
choice?
perfectly honest, I don't really care about any of them being in it. I just kind of wanted to give a general thought on like the Joker deleted scenes. Like based on the fact that they said so much of it was cut, it feels like in the original cut of this movie, Joker had a prominent role but still had no connection to the plot whatsoever. And it just seems like they were filming stuff for the sake of filming it, maybe to use it in later movies. But I don't think it would have necessarily worked well here. Like, putting, like, the implied him coming back from killing Jason Todd seems pointless because it's never referenced in this movie at any point.
Yeah. No, it isn't. I think the main thing is, and I agree with you there, it would not, a lot of these deleted scenes, strangely enough, would not have added to the story as a whole. It seemed like it would have just added to the backstory of some of these characters.
If the movie's called
almost as
Suicide
if they
Squad,
were
I think
written-
it should have a focus on the squad, and if they're constantly distracting themselves with the Joker,
Yeah.
who's not on the squad, though has a tangential connection to one of the members, like, that takes away from time you spend with it and just distracting yourself, and it makes it too cluttered.
Oh, yeah. Luke, you were saying?
Well, I mean, I was just saying. What was I saying? Never
Sorry
mind. I
about
forgot.
Oh,
Go
well.
for it. Go for it.
We're going to do a lightning round question here. Yes or no answer. Do you think there will be an Ultimate Edition released? Let's start with you, Luke.
No, because that would imply that Warner Brothers would admit that they were wrong in how they cut this movie, and I don't think that's going to happen.
I was going to say that's a 19-word answer, but that is exactly my
Oh,
feelings.
okay.
So
My bad.
if you guys were going to say that, just say yes and agree with Luke. Tim, what's your answer?
What's up?
Yes or no?
Yeah,
Ultimate Edition,
I don't
yes
think
or
they're
no?
going. Sorry, you cut out for me. Yeah, I don't think that they're going to make an
Sorry.
ultimate cut. They may add like the scenes onto a DVD, but I honestly think they're going to keep them for later stuff.
Yeah. Josh, Ultimate Edition, yay or nay?
No, I think it'll just be deleted scenes on like a Blu-ray, unless
I
like
agree.
a huge petition gets made or something like that.
No, I agree completely with what Luke was saying. I say no because essentially it is Warner's admitting fault, in my opinion, admitting that they fucked the movie up and this version was better, unlike the Snyder situation where, it was just more like Warner's going to Zach and saying, hey Zach, we can't release a 3-hour movie in theaters. Could you cut it down just maybe a little bit, take about 30 minutes out? And Zach was like, fuck, Mom, all right.
All the context of
And
the court
just
scene.
pull it. No. Yeah, all the context,
see
the
it.
full context for like the full Urban Dictionary definition of Granny's peach tea.
I can see
But
that.
no,
Zach's like, Mom, I have a 4-hour cut. She's like, bitch, you better bring that down too.
exactly.
I wonder
but
what the fun cut of BVS would have been.
like the Photoshop faces where everyone's just smiling.
They would have
at every
added
scene.
in that awful
But no,
paint effect from Suicide Squad of the red and blue going around in the vat.
Yeah, but what I really would have liked to see in that movie explained is why of course Jason Momoa looked like he was holding his breath underwater. And speaking of Jason Momoa holding his breath underwater, we found out just today actually who he's going to be holding his breath underwater while punching, and that is none other than Black Manta himself, one of his most iconic villains, really maybe his most iconic villains.
That's segue.
His most iconic villain. That was a wheel level
That was
segue. I
seamless.
apologize.
No one noticed.
But a
Jeez.
really classic villain going all the way back to 1967. The Wrap broke this story today. Black Manta will be the Aquaman villain. He, of course, was originally, actually, Wrap points out in the article, he was originally rumored to be a member of the Suicide Squad in the Suicide Squad movie. Let me ask you guys, what are your thoughts on this? Are you guys liking this? Are you guys digging this right now? Just feel free to jump in with your thoughts.
I dig it. Reason why is because Black Manta, the way they can do it, they can easily try kind of, because nowadays they try interweaving Black Manta's origins with Arthur's early days when he like first just kind of became Aquaman and stuff like that. So I could see them doing that, maybe set up Ocean Master for like a Aquaman 2 movie, just because I feel like if they did Ocean Master in the first one, they get too many comparisons to the Thor Loki thing. So I can understand why they'd wait a little bit to do that. Also, you can build a relationship more. But I'm excited for this. I just kind of want to see who they're going to cast as Black Manta. I think that's going to really make it or break it. I've heard a lot of Idris Elba castings. I think he'd be perfect if he wasn't, I think, contractually, stuck with Marvel.
True.
But, yeah, it sounds awesome. Also, about the him holding his breath thing, I think that's because there's a rumor the Atlanteans are probably going to talk mostly telepathically.
Okay, that's interesting. Let's put a pin in the casting thing. Let's come back to that in a little bit. Tim, what do you think about this? What do you think about
I'm
Black
fine
Manta?
with it. Like, he's Aquaman's most well-known villain. I'd be happy to see him in live action. I'm curious what they're gonna do with him, but guess I'll see going forward.
Yeah, it'll be really interesting to see how he's used, and maybe we'll come back to that in a second. Luke, what do you think about the news?
I like it a lot, and I had actually heard a few things today about people not liking it because they're like, well, it's kind of a waste for him to be the first villain. I don't think so. I think Black Manta, just as a character, has a really cool relationship with Arthur, and I mean, just like this extreme rivalry between each other, like this family hatred between each other, and honestly, it's a really cool idea for a villain in a movie.
I agree with you 100%. I actually think he's the most logical first character because that gives you a little bit of a chance to set up some of the palace intrigue with Orm and all that going on. Give maybe Volko a little more of an expanded role. I do have another question here on this. So it seems like we're all pretty positive about Black Manta. Josh kind of led us right into this, the lightning round kind of thing I was going to do on this topic. Who would you guys cast as Black Manta? Josh said he's hearing Idris Elba rumors, but he doesn't think it's going to be Idris Elba. I personally think Idris Elba can do whatever the fuck he wants. So I'm going to say Idris Elba. I'm going with that 100%. I think he'll get out of it because honestly, as somebody commented on one of the videos today, he's honestly being a little bit wasted at Marvel, unless of course they go to the Heimdall theory that Josh has been floating about. So do you guys have any dream castings for Black Manta?
I don't really
anybody?
Steve Buscemi.
Steve Buscemi?
Yes.
I think you're missing a key facet of the character there, Lugal.
No, you're missing a key facet of the character.
We'll have Steve Buscemi in blackface, or excuse me, in eel face.
I guess
we don't have it enough.
I'd probably go for Michael J. White might be fun.
I agree. That's a good. I think Tim, he's already in the DCEU. He's Bronze Tiger. But no, yeah, of course. Nobody cares. No, I agree with you.
Nobody cares.
Nobody cares about TV. Not Marvel, and not DC, and definitely not Fox because they don't have any TV shows. Josh, who's your dream choice?
I mean, my dream choice is Idris, but my nightmare choice is Tyrese Gibson.
It's gonna be Tyrese, baby. Pray for me, Larry.
You know
Pray
who it is
me.
going to be? It's going to be Will.
Yeah, we're gonna get with.
We're sending him to Hollywood right now in a 2x4 box.
He's in a
He's
shipping
all curled
crate.
up.
Will,
Yes,
pack
he's in
your
a shipping-
bags. We're mailing you to
We're gonna have
live
him
with
swim
Nick
there to
for the
prove
duration
himself.
of filming. We're gonna
Yes, to prove himself. Yes,
We're gonna have him swim there for sure. So
we
it's actually
built
really
him
interesting.
built him a giant manta ship.
I like
kinda-
the idea of like.
I hope
well,
they
not
do
like
Calderon.
Nightmare. Calderon. I was gonna say
Just throwing
if
it out
they,
there, like I hope they do that with like the hell he's Black Manta's son.
You
Kind of.
think
I think
it'd
it'd
be
be
Calder or
interesting.
Jackson?
No, I agree.
They'll
they'll
probably
do
do
Calder.
Calder
Ooh.
just because he has more of a kind of recognition than Jackson.
Yeah, Jackson's still getting a little bit off the ground. I feel like we got to get farther into Rebirth before we really roll him out.
Calder's
So
more
is-
interesting
so-
too.
I
So
agree.
is
Honestly.
Garth just no
I feel like they.
No Barnacle Boy.
Barnacle Boy?
No, but I would be fine with Garth. I'd like a reference to that. Like, I hope it's not like the Batman route where it's like he's already lost an Aqualad. But no, like I really hope it's not that way.
Yeah. I was just saying, is Tempest gonna get no love here? Or are we
No.
just gonna skip over Tempest completely?
No.
I feel like Garth could be in it, but he probably wouldn't be his like sidekick, but probably like Arthur's
He's
best
hanging
friend or
out
something.
off screen
instead.
with Dick Grayson
Yeah.
somewhere.
Hey, Titus.
They're just sitting there underwater in trucker hats. Party on, Garth.
if the DCU,
Party on, Arthur.
I was gonna say, if the DCU is gonna stick with the sort of dark and more serious tone that's been doing, do you think that they're going to kill Aquababy in this movie?
I don't think
kill
we'll have an
Garth.
Aqua Baby.
They'll kill Garth. Black Manta.
They'll
beat
kill
Garth.
All right, well, let me rephrase it. They'll kill Aquasperm.
Let me
How about
say
that?
this. Let me
Damn.
say it's Luke. Are you suddenly a Catholic? But no. Let me say this. They'll kill. Here's how it goes down in the DCEU. So Garth is dead. He's dead in this universe. He was killed by Black Manta. And in Aquaman, there was supposed to be a scene. I'm predicting this. My future vision is telling me it's going to be a deleted scene of Black Manta getting beaten up by Aquaman. While the palace burns in the background underwater somehow. It's magic.
SpongeBob logic.
It's magic.
You went
but
too
no,
far, Manta.
So
I'm gonna hurt you this time.
Clearly, all of us are excited for that. But speaking of the DCEU, staying in that vein before we jump to TV time, our final segment, we also had some massive DCEU come out this week before the Aquaman news came out. Something that some of us didn't expect to happen, and I'm going to ask you guys about this. Superman is getting another solo movie, an official Man of Steel sequel, not
Yes.
really the Batman v Superman movie that we got that was supposedly a Man of Steel sequel but ended up just being a Justice League prequel. We are actually getting MOS 2, and I am so excited for this. I personally am very, very in love with this idea. But are you guys... well, first off, my first question is, did you guys expect this
Yes.
at all?
At
Yes.
some point, probably
Josh, just
not
guess
this
why.
soon. I thought they
Reason
would do it
why.
after they finished what they already announced.
Reason why I knew this was coming was because they would have gotten so much shit if they just literally... Because it looked like they had been sidelining Henry Cavill, now. And they would have gotten a lot of shit for it, but also at the same time, they got to be realistic with themselves. I mean, the guy's huge right now and all that stuff, but eventually he won't be able to do that. Like, you have to make another Superman movie in that time period before his, physical ability starts going downward, which I don't think
he's
will happen
still massive.
for a while. But I mean, still, you have to be realistic.
While he can still lift heavy things and put
Parentheses.
heavy things down.
I mean, to be fair, he's dead. So I mean,
You're right. What are we saying? How are
Technically,
they doing a Man
he
of
is in
Steel
a
sequel? He's
coma,
dead.
So
Josh, you don't know that. That has not been confirmed.
healing
you
coma.
can't say that. It's too deep for you to know right
Third
now.
of
The
Steel.
rocks they
Josh,
symbolize.
are you Zack Snyder? Are you so you don't know?
If I was Zack Snyder, I would have been dead by now.
You don't understand. The rocks lifting
Man of
off
Steel.
of his coffin represent the rock moving from Jesus' tomb after he rose on the
Crosses
third
everywhere.
day.
You're right. Holy shit.
On this Man of
Excalibur.
Steel sequel thing,
Excalibur.
though, I would love
No.
to see
That's actually was going to be my next
Brad
question. was,
Bird direct it.
well, let's
for
do
the
let's
Essence.
do a Josh. You kind of already answered the question. I was going to say, who do you guys want to direct the movie? Josh, I would like to remind you who's the host here. I will mute you.
You will mute me.
Put my foot down.
There will be silence in this podcast where you were talking. But no, who do you guys want to direct it?
Matthew
Tim or
Vaughn
Luke?
or Brad Bird. Like, Brad Bird, I think, can get the sense of wonder and hope. Matthew Vaughn makes a solid comic book movie.
Oh, absolutely.
Motherfucker.
Quentin Tarantino or Joel Schumacher. Have him come back, make his
On
glorious
his white
return.
stallion.
I'm trying to figure out how to put a J into.
Yes.
I'm trying to figure out
Matter
how to
of
put a
fact-
J in
matter of
Call's
fact-
name.
Call Tim Burton back. Tell him, hey, listen, you're gonna get the Superman movie you were promised.
And then he'll be like, "Where's Nick Cage?"
Where
And
is
he's like, you have to deal with
Nicolas
this, and then he's gonna
Cage?
leave because he can't do it without Nick Cage.
Oh my god! Imagine
simply-
Nick Cage, Superman, and Jared Leto Joker on a set. Holy shit!
That would be balls out, dicks out for Harambe.
I would forgive Waka Flocka Flame Joker if he was fighting against Nick Cage
Waka
Superman.
Flocka Flame Joker.
So I guess kind of the last thing I want to ask about this: who's the villain for Man of Steel 2 in your opinion? Just anybody. Personally, I'm a huge Brainiac stan, and because I think Jeff Johns will be writing this movie because he's writing everything else right now. I mean, Jeff Johns wrote a brilliant Brainiac, so I think it kind of sets up right easily, right well, jolly good. What the fuck am I saying? Who's your pick for the villain of this movie?
Y'all mind if I go first real quick?
Go ahead,
Yeah, go ahead.
Luke.
I'm going to go out on a limb because I don't know if anyone's going to choose this. I'm going to go ahead and say Parasite. Ooh. Because they have the chance to do something really interesting that they've never done with Parasite in the comics and make him a compelling villain that really challenges what Superman, how he wants to present himself to the world. You have a character who basically just absorbs everything around him. In a realistic setting, this guy is terrified, doesn't know what's going on, and you have the chance to have a character like Superman approach him and try to be the guy that we love, the guy that's willing to talk to his villains and try to understand before like fists just start flying.
Luke, put a pin in that because I'm going to come back to that last part. Luke or not Luke, Tim or Josh, who are you guys thinking for the villain?
Brainiac, like Luke said, Parasite, or maybe Metallo, maybe as a side villain.
Very cool. I like all of those great choices. Josh?
I think there's two choices in my mind. I think Brainiac would be a great choice, and you could easily, weave it in. You can say after the whole apocalypse invasion and everything that got, Brainiac's attention, and then with that he saw, oh shit, there's a Kryptonian here, let me go collect him. You could easily do that. If they didn't fuck Lex Luthor over with a dildo, hopefully they could find some way to salvage, what they did, because a lot of people weren't happy overall with their Lex Luthor. But I think Lex Luthor would have been a great Man of Steel 2 kind of villain.
Can I tell you how they do that?
Can
I tell you how they do that?
I already did the Superman Metropolis screenplay. You can.
No, I know that. I know. No, can I tell you how they fix Lex Luthor?
Yeah, just say that's not Lex Luthor.
Okay, so Jesse Eisenberg already has the bald head. Let's just say he keeps going bald, or he stays bald because of radioactive exposure to kryptonite. He starts working out in the gym, in the prison. He gets huge. He gets buff. He comes back transformed. He comes back Bryan Cranston.
That's what I was thinking. I was like,
working out, doing the bench press turned into Bryan Cranston. Can I actually pitch something to you real quick? And this is a lightning round. I'll just say my piece for like 30 seconds, and you can just say yay or nay. Is this a movie you'd watch? So starting now. Okay. So the one rumor that's been floating around about this movie, oddly enough, what I'm hearing whispers of, and please hold your words until the end of this, is Kingdom Come. And so I don't know if I like that. I don't know if I think they would adapt it completely, but I think there is an avenue here to both kind of do, as Luke said, like have Superman transform. And I think there's a really meta way they could do this while working in the Kingdom Come. And I would say while Superman is dead, because I fully expect this movie to come out. I fully expect Justice League 2 to be pushed back, but I expect this movie to come out kind of in maybe the aftermath of Justice League 2 or between the two Justice Leagues. Long story short, I think Superman comes back. He's back to being a normal person. And maybe this other superhero has been cleaning things up. He's a little more brutal. He's a little more savage, but he's still seen as doing what needs to be done. And that superhero's name is Magog. And I think you could just have this whole dichotomy, really interesting kind of dichotomy situation where it's like Superman kind of realizes that he was the error of his ways and has to fix this when confronted with a villain who's maybe doing things the way that a lot of the viewers and some of the critics thought he was doing things. I'm not even going to go to the yay or nay. I'll let the viewers decide on that one. Do you guys?
You don't want to hear my thoughts on that. So
no, Josh, shut up. So now we jump to our last segment. No, Josh, quiet. No. TV time. Our last segment of the show. Lots to talk about. First up, we have some news coming out of Supergirl. And speaking of, Tim actually mentioned this villain, Metallo, potentially a villain for the next Superman movie. We actually have a new set photos from Supergirl Season 2 in Vancouver, up in the Great White North, where on set spotted was somebody sporting a green crystal in his chest. Have you guys seen those set photos?
Yeah, it's pretty dope.
What do you guys think of the? Let me just ask. What do you guys think of the choice to include Metallo in Supergirl Season 2 potentially?
I think it's pretty cool. I have nothing against it. I have to see how it goes, obviously, but
it makes sense. I thought that he worked on Smallville, and they've been doing other Superman villains on the show, so I expected him at some point.
He's kind of I don't want to say street level, but kind of better than just like a thug. Like he's kind of just a step up. He's not one of really the heavy hitters, but he's someone that could seriously pose a threat, right?
He's like a shocker kind of villain.
Yeah, he's essentially like a shocker. Luke, any thoughts on Metallo and Supergirl?
Disappointed that he pretty much looks like the Smallville version, but I'm fine with it.
That was a great version. Shut your mouth.
You've got to do the Clash of the Titans. The disappointed. But
Hercules.
I don't know. I really like Mattel.
that is from Hercules. You're right. I realized that I mixed up my memes.
I really like Metallo as a character, so I mean I'm excited for it. I don't think he's gonna get a lot to do, so I'm just preparing myself for him basically just being, "Hey Superman, fight me," and then he fights him, and that's it.
Speaking of villains coming to new shows, not new shows. Speaking of villains coming to DC TV shows, we actually, just a day after a rumor said that he might show up in Flash Season 3, we have an official confirmation and a casting that The Flash has cast Mirror Master for Season 3, one of Flash's really iconic villains, someone that I've personally been really interested in seeing on screen. And they've cast this actor, Gray Damon. Gray Damon has been in a couple of things you might have seen. He was in Friday Night Lights. He currently is on NBC's Aquarius. He was on the CW before in a show called Starcrossed that I've never heard of. This comes to us from that hashtag show, actually. So actually, my question to you guys is, how do you think Mirror Master is going to be used in Season 3?
I think he'll be a villain of the day, and it'll lead to finally getting the full robes on the show.
Hopefully. I mean, villain of the day would honestly disappoint me because I think Mirror Master has the
he'll
potential
come back.
to
I
do
just
more,
think
but
that's
I
how
think I'm just
they'll
getting my
introduce
hopes
him.
up. True. Anybody else have any strong opinions one way or the other?
I love Mirror Master. I love Mirror Master to death. He's probably my favorite Flash villain just because of how fucking ridiculous he is, but also
he is
again,
science out the ass.
No, like I think literally I've been on this show, I've been waiting for fucking Mirror Master ever since Season 1, and like they never announced him until now, so
yeah,
I'm really excited. I kind of agree with Tim. He's probably just gonna be villain of the day, then he's gonna come back and he's gonna be I'm a Rogues now, which with hopefully the other missing Rogues members, hopefully the top actually comes into the show. But
Josh, do you care one way or the other about Poison Ivy?
No, I don't.
That's right. Are you surprised? Were you surprised that I said Poison Ivy?
No.
Well, guess what? You're going to be surprised if you watch Gotham, and you're expecting the same old little girl to be playing Poison Ivy because she has been recast. That's right. She's no longer this clearly like 8-year-old. Instead, she's a dime now that I feel
you should see these
saying.
Comments.
We're going to get some comments, dude.
No, the comments on that reveal.
I'm sure she looks a little bit more like, I guess, Poison Ivy from the comics. She's certainly not a little girl. And this is very strange. I'm not sure we have a picture up. We'll link this, I guess, in the comments so you can check this out. She definitely is not.
We're not in Kansas anymore.
She's now legal. Let's say that. So basically, at the end of Gotham Season 2, one of Hugo Strange's creatures escaped. And Ivy runs into it and kind of has a run-in with this creature, and it turns her into this 19-year-old person who's now setting her sights on Bruce Wayne, according to Fox themselves. So, what do you guys think about this? How do you guys think they're going to handle this? Do you guys even care? Let's go to the polls.
I don't care about Gotham. As soon as they said that Jim Gordon might become Batman on the show, no.
You shat yourself and cried.
Bat Jim.
I didn't. That's kind of vulgar, but yeah, I guess so, metaphorically.
In that order.
I'll let you think about that.
Let's leave that up to the viewers. Which order? No, Luke, do you care? Do you even care?
I haven't watched Gotham since its second fucking episode. So
Me either.
No, I don't.
I've got to do like the Jeb Bush. The please clap. Please say. Please. I mean, it's weird though, right? This is a weird thing that they're doing.
I mean, I'll never forget getting people like, "Yo, this is the girl that's getting casted for Poison Ivy." One of my friends from school texted me, like, "This is the actress," and it was like a photo shoot she did, and I was just like, "Wait, what? Wasn't she like 8? Like, what the hell?"
She was
what?
like 8. Well, she grew up quick, but no. It's really interesting. I think a lot of people, especially in the comments, were really angry that she was going to be so young. But a lot of people were angry that she was actually going to be much older than Bruce this time around, and I think that it's all right. I mean, if she's a 19-year-old, she certainly doesn't look 19, but at least she's, I guess Bruce is supposed to be like, what, 13, 14? So a 5-year age difference isn't anything to sneeze at, but it's certainly not awful anyways. But with that will bring us to the end of our show. No viewer questions this week that I saw. So if you've got viewer questions after this episode, don't forget to drop them in the comment section down below with hashtag AskSuperFriends. We love to answer your questions. We just had a lot of ground to cover today. So any parting thoughts, guys? Any last words?
Yep, I gave Suicide Squad a 7. I didn't say it in this recording. I said it in the last one.
Tim gives Suicide Squad a 7 out of 10. Anybody else?
No.
No. Why was it in true Nick fashion? I feel like you've got to at least say why was BVS bad, but no, that's probably going to get a little more hate.
I'm not bringing that evil on us.
Josh, don't bring that evil on me, Ricky Bobby. Josh, any final thoughts?
Still waiting for my Shazam solo.
Jeff, what the fuck are you doing? I will buy you all of the Bo Duke action figures that you want if you give Josh his Shazam on.
You can hear me talk about how the logic behind him not getting one yet defies me in the new CBVS.
True.
Like Gwen Plaza.
We'll see what happens there. But yeah. So that wraps it up for this whip around episode of Super Friends. Like I said, don't forget to drop us your questions in the comment section down below. We will answer them. We're actually usually very good about answering your questions. Hashtag AskSuperFriends in the comments or on Twitter because we do check that as well. Hashtag, let's try and get this trending in at least the comment section. Hashtag dicks out for Slipknot.
He had a good head on his shoulders.
Which I'm going to put on a shirt. He did have one until...
Not all heroes wear capes.
Some of them just wear their heads. Climbed right the fuck out of that movie. But so for Tim, Josh, and Luke, I laughed at my own joke. This is CJ, and we'll see you next week.